Okay, how's everybody today? So, the TAs and I have been working on revising the agenda for this course and revising the syllabus for this course. So, if you go to the Blackboard page, you'll see on there the original agenda that I handed out at the beginning of class and the original syllabus. And So you'll now see the revised agenda and the revised syllabus. And we're still not finished, so, but we've done a lot of it, okay? And as of right now, I'm pretty happy with the revised agenda. Of course, I had to revise it because of, the lateness, of the books arriving. I did talk to the manager of the bookstore on more than one occasion, and of course, one of the problems was the big snowstorm they've had, throughout the whole United States, and it just wasn't possible to even get the books here. And even though they ordered them, they weren't here, and I didn't have a chance today to go check. Did anybody check today? They're still not in? Not any of them? Oh dear. Well, I don't think this will hurt the revised agenda nonetheless. Yes. Yeah, I did that. Okay. Yes. So here is the revised agenda here, and this has now what I expect are actually going to be the days for everything. Okay. And so here I've got the weeks. Okay, they're still the semester's still 14 weeks. Okay, although we're now in week 4 already of the semester. Okay, so I put the dates out here so you know what we are, and basically so what I'm going to do this week is I'm going to talk about, in the concept part of the course, I'm going to talk about software, and so I'm going to do that today. And then on Thursday I'm going to talk about digital life. Okay? And then the PowerPoint slides are CO3 and IO2, okay? And we put the PowerPoint slides up also. We'll look at that in just a minute, okay? But we're putting the PowerPoint slides up just so that they're about a week ahead of time, so that you can actually look at these PowerPoint slides before the lecture. You can download these PowerPoint slides before the lecture and have a chance to look at them. And then, of course, you'll be able to have these PowerPoint slides. You can keep them and then assignments and exams. So this week, assignment 1 is due. Okay? And assignment 1 I handed out last week, and so it'll be due this week. So in fact, it's going to be due on Thursday. Okay? Before the class on Thursday, this assignment 1 will be due. Then you can look down here and you can see on a week by week basis what it is, the way I see the course. It's a little bit kind of crowded, toward the end. So, for instance, next week I'm going to be talking about spreadsheets, okay? And that is in the PowerPoint slides, S06. And we're going to have our first exam next week. And so that will be Thursday of next week, okay? And either on Tuesday or Thursday of next week, I'm going to hand out the second assignment, okay? And so you can go down here and you can see when I'll be handing out assignments, okay, when assignments are due, and when the quizzes are. So we have now cut down on the number of assignments and the number of quizzes, okay? And we've also changed the point value, okay? So now there are 4 assignments altogether, A1 through A4, and 5 exams, okay? Each one of these exams should take up about half of a class, okay? And then, so there's 4 assignments, 5 quizzes, and then class attendance and class participation, okay? So there's 10 elements, okay, to your grade. Each of these 10 elements will now count 100 points, and so there's 1,000 points altogether. Yeah?
So we have like a study sheet or like a review sheet or something for us to learn that?
You will have basically, if you look at, so next week, okay, you're going to have E1, okay, that's going to be the first exam, okay, and so that's going to be over, okay. The information, okay, on these slides here, okay, I01, SO2, CO1, CO2, CO3, and I02, okay, but not including the one for that week, okay. So these are the things you need to study, and the corresponding, parts of the text, okay. And these cover digital hardware, digital software, digital technology, intellectual property rights, digital life, okay, word processing, OS, and web research, okay. Those sections of the text, okay. Yeah.
Was that gonna be on Tuesday or Thursday?
Going to be on Thursday of next week. Now, one thing you cannot tell from the agenda here is whether things are going to be on Tuesday or Thursday. Okay? So, but I don't want to pin myself down to Tuesday or Thursday here because there's variation in how fast I go, and but I will tell you like the week ahead of time, whether the assignments are going to be due on Tuesday or Thursday, whether the quiz is going to be on Tuesday or Thursday. Yeah.
Okay, so what exactly are we studying for this?
I'm sorry?
Which modules are we studying for this if they're gonna be like on the exam?
For this quiz 1 here. Okay, so I sort of think in terms of the PowerPoint slides, okay, uh, and it's these PowerPoint slides that start with I are the issues that I've talked about. See up here are the columns, okay, concepts, issues, and skills, okay. The first issue is intellectual property rights. And so you should read the section of the text on intellectual property rights, okay. The skills, okay, are, so I01, y'all want to sit together or not, okay? Because if this goes on, you can't sit together. Okay, so if the slides say I01, okay, that is an issue, okay? It's a PowerPoint slide on the issue 01, which is intellectual property rights, okay? And SO2, okay, it's a skills lecture in PowerPoint, okay? And this has to do with OS and web research. Okay? Similarly, in week 3, we have digital technology hardware, okay? That's concept CO1, okay, the PowerPoint slide CO1. And also, corresponding to each one of these PowerPoint lectures is a section in your textbook, okay? So basically, down here for E01, you need to look at the textbook, read the section on digital hardware, digital technology, and hardware and software, the issues part on intellectual property rights and digital life, and the skills on OS and the web research, word processing. Now, this course is called Introduction to Computers, and it's actually supposed to be an introductory course, okay? And we're supposed in here to actually go through all this stuff, But it's clear, in my talking to you that most of you know the basics, of these skills already. You've used Word. And so we don't need to go through, the details of how to do, Microsoft Word, or Mac Word. You're familiar with that, okay? You may not be familiar with, advanced parts of it, okay? But you have, you know these things already. So these PowerPoint slides on the skills are a little bit, uh, you know, just boring for you, basically. Now, there are a few of you in the class that really need that because in talking to you individually, some of you just really haven't used the computer hardly at all and really don't have any of these skills. So I've set up, the TAs to help do help sessions, and anyone who's come to me and said, listen, am I in this class to learn these skills? Or am I supposed to know them already before I come to this class? And the answer is no, well, this is a class, for learning these skills. I said, but I've learned that I cannot go through those skills lectures without boring everybody out of their skull, And so, by and large, I kind of go over them pretty fast, and we just start using it. Anyway, that's the agenda as I see it. Now, that's all that we put up for the agenda right now. There's in the previous agenda, we had not only had this table, but we also had on each week some details. Okay, we're going to put that up, but we're still working on it. Okay, so here we got the agenda revised, and here is the syllabus revised. Okay, the syllabus is not much revised. It's just that in the original syllabus we had a whole bunch of quizzes. We had quizzes on concepts, quizzes on skills, and then we had 5 different assignments. So I've cut that down, and so now there's only 5 quizzes, 4 assignments, and so the point value for each one of them has changed. So if you look at the original syllabus, the points for the various things were either 60 points or 80 points. Now there's 10 different parts, okay, and these 10 different parts, each one is worth 100. So here is a folder on slides, and you can click on that, and you'll see week 2, week 3, week 4. So today we're in week 4 already, and so I'm going to talk on software this week, and I'm going to talk on digital life, okay? And so you can download, you can click on this, and you can view the PowerPoint or you can download the PowerPoint. I hope that's right. Let me check it, make sure. So you either open it up, okay, that means you can look at it, or you can save it on your home computer, okay? Or you save it on the computer here. Now, about this first assignment, you have to go back to the teach. Announcement. Assessment. Okay, so under new items available, okay, assignments, okay, you'll see assignment 1. Oh, well, I see. I guess I should go over here to student view. I guess. Assignment 1, okay. And so there's some attachments, okay, so here is assignment 1. That's, I think I handed that out in the hard copy form, okay. And you know what that is. That's to do a paper on human rights in some Middle Eastern country, okay. And then here is the evaluation criteria here. And so basically this is a template here, okay, for assignment, okay, and you can basically just use this template. Okay, this template sets all of the margins and everything properly for a research paper, and gives you an example. So even if you've already written the paper, you can basically just take the text and plop it in here, okay. And so this would be the typical, and these are actually the works cited. That's, I guess, double spaced too. I said single spaced, but it may vary from one discipline to another there. So here's the grading criteria here, okay? So it's worth 100 points if you get everything right, okay? The most important things, the grammar, the punctuation, the spelling, subject and verb usage should be handled pretty much by the word processor. Yes, ma'am.
So we're supposed to use.
Excuse me?
If we're
I can't hear you.
if we're supposed to use the template, if we're supposed to use the template for our paper, the citation, like what value will I use? I mean,
Well,
it's kind of missing.
this particular paper goes by, I forget which,
Is it like you want us to do an MLA format?
I forgot. Yes.
Oh, instead of doing works cited page, can we use footnotes instead?
I can't hear you.
Instead of a works cited page, can we use footnotes instead?
You mean instead of saying works cited, you want to say footnotes, right?
Or, like, we have footnotes in our paper.
Man, you'd think you're teaching a high school class in here. I've never had that much trouble. But I mainly teach computer science students, right? And I just don't understand, all this talking, okay, going on. I think the best thing to do is basically, if you don't settle down, to basically kick you out of the class. Now, I told somebody, been in this university 37 years now, never had a discipline problem. Never. Sent email to the graders, and did I ever tell you who the graders are? So one of the graders is Sharu Han, and her office is 550 E PGH, and her email is CHANS, okay, at CSUHEDU. And the other grader is Ching Lee, or Ching Lee, and her email address is Ching Lee 12. That's an L. Ching Lee 12 at CSUHEDU. Sharu is the one that did the template, okay? And so you can send her email and find out what particular format she was following. Something like AELU, something like that, okay? It's not one that I normally use, so I don't remember exactly what it is. I don't know if any of you have used VNet before. Have any of you used VNet? If you haven't used VNet, when you log on to VNet, VNet is a College of Natural Sciences and Mathematics facility. It has some of the same features that Blackboard has on it, but it has one feature that you can record lectures. And so I've been recording these lectures. And so you can log on to VNet, and you'll automatically be allowed into Computer Science 1300 because I've sent the class roll over, and basically when you bring up on VNet, if you bring up this class, then there are these different tabs, okay, and you hit on Documents tabs, And here is lecture 1 and lecture 2, okay? And these are AVI files, and so basically if you click on them, okay, then you'll get, you just play the lecture over again, okay? And you can either play it in QuickTime, or you can play it in Flash, or you can download it, okay? And if you say play it in Flash, of course you have to have the Flash loaded. But if you have either Flash or QuickTime, okay, then basically you can hear my lecture 2 all over again, see? And you just click on that, okay, and it plays it, okay? It goes awfully slow, but it takes the same amount of time to listen to it as it did to give it in the first place. Student view. So anyway, the assignment 1 has this document 1 here. That was the assignment. Then here's the evaluation criteria, and here's the template, okay? So the evaluation criteria are, you'll get 100 if everything is good on your assignment, okay? The format is 20 points, okay? So, but we're not going to grade strictly on this particular format, okay? If it seems to be a reasonable format. So if you want to use, you know, something that's particular to your discipline, okay, that's okay. And then citations, so, you know, we'll look at those, see if they seem to be in a reasonable format, okay? Grammar, punctuation, spelling, subject and verb usage is another 20 points, okay? These are all kind of mechanical things here. What I will look at, really, I'll let the graders take care of that, is whether the thing is clear and logical, okay? We don't want something that just rambles, you know? Sounds like you just sort of made up your sentences one at a time and just turned it in, okay? We don't want any text that's really not to the point. We don't want something that starts off saying, Libya, you know, is a country in the Middle East, you know, it borders the Mediterranean Sea and the latitude such and such, and you know, that's maybe all true, but it's just not to the point, okay? The point of the paper and what we're interested in is human rights in Libya, okay? So where Libya sits and what its latitude and longitude are just completely immaterial. And if you put that in, it shows really bad judgment. You know, you're not writing a paper about the geography of Libya, okay? It's not saying you can't mention it, but anything you do mention should be somehow pertinent to the subject, not just filler. Okay? We don't want something that just kind of wanders back and forth, okay? You know, we like something that's really thought out pretty well, so that the paragraph follow one another sort of logically, okay? And you know, we won't, you know, I mean, it's all right to you know to say, well, you know, so and so and so and so, you know, feel like that this country ranks, you know, good in this particular area because they've had, you know, some people go over and do some examinations of the people, but so and so and so and so feel contrary, you know, and why? I mean that you know, it's college research papers tend to be not so much sales oriented as they are real evaluation. You know, you're not trying to really sell one side or the other so much as you're to try to come up with you know the way it is. Okay, you know this guy said you know this. You should give you know both sides if you can. Now I realize that in some of these things you know you're asking about subjects which are so sensitive that maybe people don't give you a really good answer. And you know you just have to say that. You know say you know haven't really run into any particular source you know that I feel you know 90% confidence level you know that these people are telling the truth. You really want to answer the question, okay? What are the human rights you know in this country? Is this country you know good, bad, indifferent? Okay, when it comes to human rights, you know, have they made progress? You know, have they gone backwards? You know, okay? I mean, like you know in Egypt, okay, the present government you know has the right you know and the power to basically shut down the internet in Egypt again, and did right, and cut off cell phones again. And this is a big advantage, okay, you know, to have that power because you know it keeps people from sort of you know having protests and that sort of thing. So that's the sort of thing I'm looking at, okay. So does that answer your question about how we're going to grade? Okay, I guess that's about the you know best I tell you. Yeah.
On the paper that you handed out, it says data showing this data set is like also historically or something that needs to be taken into consideration. Can you actually explain what that means? Because we don't have to include all of these.
Will, which ones don't you want to include? I mean,
I just think that
women's rights. You want to leave out women's rights?
well, I just think that like including all of them would be like overimportant.
Uh-huh. Well, that's terrible.
Well, I don't know if you're saying like
Well, I think it's best to include something about all those issues, okay, and other issues as well, okay, and you might say, you know, the time and space, you know, prohibit, you know, a more definitive answer. Yes.
So if we go over 4 pages,
You can go over 4 pages, yeah. Just don't go a whole lot over. I go to sleep real easy. Yeah.
Where did you turn in the paper?
And you turn it in with,
Blackboard?
yeah, Blackboard.
No hard copy? Okay.
No. Okay, anything else? Well, good. Let me talk then a little bit about software. always convert these PowerPoint slides into something called Classroom Presenter, which is a system that was designed at the University of Washington, and it has some advantages that PowerPoint doesn't have, and so it's really basically a little bit better, for using in classroom teaching. So as you know, in using a computer, there's some hardware and then there's some software. Usually the user of the computer is not terribly concerned with exactly what is done by hardware and what is done by software, and the whole thing just kind of blends together. If it runs your application, who cares? Where the hardware ends and the software begins. However, when you go to from a financial point of view, it is important because you have to buy these things separately. Now, when computers were first made commercial, the companies that sold them pretty much thought of themselves as hardware vendors. I mean, if you go back to the 1950s, 1960s, I mean, who were the hardware vendors back in those days? Computers was pretty much an American thing. I mean, not that there weren't other countries that developed computers, but comparison to the United States, other countries were really kind of, very light, in their computer industry. We used to talk about IBM and the Seven Dwarfs because in these early days, IBM basically dominated the computer market, and all more than half of all the computers were IBM. Okay, and what about the software that went with this computer? Well, IBM's philosophy was that they gave the software away. That they were a hardware company and they sold hardware. And the software was just a necessary evil in order to sell the hardware. So you bought the hardware and then they just handed you the software, that was needed to go with this hardware. In fact, in those days, there was a kind of a standard IBM sales presentation. I think every salesman in IBM, probably used this presentation one time. It was a canned presentation, and we called it the iceberg presentation. And the iceberg presentation went like this. And here was the sea, and here was the iceberg. See? And every IBM salesman, went out with his sales chart, the flip chart, and he had the iceberg there, And he says, well, what you see here is the hardware. And that's what you pay for. Okay? He says, but beneath the surface, there's all this other stuff. Okay, there's the software and the service, okay, and all this other stuff. Okay, and that you were actually getting the whole iceberg. Okay, for the price, you know, this little part, okay, that you can actually see. Then in 1969 and 1970, actually I believe it was in August of 1970, IBM unbundled. And unbundling meant they were going to charge separately for all this stuff. And they said, now we're going to sell all this stuff that's below the water, uh, separately. And so you got to pay for everything here. So they said, you know, if you want to buy all this software and services and all this other thing, you know, have a separate little contract, you know, and the cost of that contract is 3% of the hardware. For 2 decades, they've been telling the people that there was this huge thing below the water. See, you just buy the. So we used to call it the 3% iceberg. It's really all that iceberg was above the water, and only 3% of it was down below the water. See? And that's how much that they believed they were a hardware company, and not a software company. Now, then the personal computer then came around in the around 1980, right? So basically, you had in 1970, you had this unbundling. In 1980, you had the PC. Well, IBM really didn't know how to deal with this PC. It cost nothing. You know, these huge computers that they were used to, you know, cost hundreds of thousands of dollars, and they took up entire rooms, you know, in companies' headquarters and so forth. And you had to have special air conditioning to keep them cool enough, you know, so that you know, they didn't melt. And these PCs, you know, were for an individual person, and so they cost way, way less, and they were much, much smaller, you know. And basically, IBM did not want to mess with the PC. It was more of a bother than anything else. And I don't think they would even had a PC except for Apple. These Apple computers, you know, had come on the scene, and they were selling lots of them. Okay? People liked these Apple computers, and so IBM decided, well, you know, we need to get in this business, you know, to still be kind of the main company in computing. And they didn't want to write the software either. So basically, they looked around, you know, for a company to write the software for them, you know, and that's where they hired Microsoft. And so Microsoft, you know, was a very small company, you know, and these kids ran Microsoft. I mean, and Bill Gates, you know, at the time was in his 20s, okay, and Paul Allen, you know, who was in his 20s, you know, and you know, and when they met, you know, to drop a contract so that Microsoft would do the software, uh, you know, it was these kids, you know, and the company lawyers, you know, from IBM, you know. And the thing that was smart and clever on the part of Bill Gates was that he said, well, you know, we'll write this operating system for you. And he said, but it's Microsoft's property. You know, we'll retain ownership. But you don't want us to write this operating system, okay, and give it to you, because you know, if we write this operating system and give it to you, you've got to take care of it, right? You don't want to do that. You know, we're good at it. You know, we want to do it. We'll retain ownership. And since the main philosophy within IBM was we're a hardware company, they agreed to it. No problem. And basically, in that way, as it turned out, IBM gave the store away. I mean, it was true the hardware, you know, was more important at that time, but I guess the executives, you know, failed to realize the true potential of the software. And in the early days of the PC, people just came down and bought a PC. Then there came this application called VisiCalc. This VisiCalc was, the early spreadsheet, the first, I guess, real spreadsheet. Yeah. And it was such a success in the financial community among accountants and financial people that for the first time, people would come in to buy a computer, and the first question they'd ask is, does it run VisiCalc? And the answer was yes, and then they'd buy it, and because it had VisiCalc. If the answer was no, they wouldn't buy it. And so this, became a lesson to the people in the hardware companies that basically here's some software, that's driving the market. And if we don't have this software, we're not going to sell, this hardware. Well, the situation today. I mean, software is definitely the driver, in any computer market. I mean, today the requirements, on software are just enormous. Okay? You buy a computer, you want it to do this, you want it to do that, you want it to do something else. If you're a game player, you got to have all these games. You got to have you do have to have hardware. You got to have a good graphics, board and all that. Okay, but that was basically something that changed, with time. Now, this particular, PowerPoint lecture talks about software engineering, acquiring software license, and then it talks about system software, application software, and managing software. Software engineering is something really, I guess, that's mainly of interest to computer scientists. That's what we do. We engineer the stuff. We develop systems, and that do things for the computer. We write all of the software for the computer, the operating systems, the management systems, the I/O systems, and so forth. And the way you do that, particularly in a large environment, has now become something of, an interest. And we identify the various parts of the software creation cycle, and we realize how to deal with each part of this cycle. This notion on how to build software has come at a certain price. It took a lot of time and effort to come up with this. There used to be a guy had this software magazine came out every month, and he used to go around giving talks, and he talked about how to price software. And he says, well, the way you price software is you use the flinch method. And he says the flinch method goes like this. You go to the customer and you say, well, this software is going to cost X dollars. And you look to see where he flinches or not. And if he doesn't flinch, then you say, that's for phase one. So a computer program is a process of creating software through the use of logic, algorithms, and programming of languages. So Microsoft Visual Studio is a popular integrated development environment. And most software is developed on this Microsoft Visual Studio. And if you're a computer scientist, the first thing you have to do is get Microsoft Visual Studio. Actually, our department has a contract, you know, with Microsoft, and basically all of our students, you know, can get Microsoft Visual Studio, you know, free of charge. They just go upstairs. We got a place, you know, where they can get it. Programming language provide a set of symbols, key terms, commands, and rules, okay, used to write program code. How many programming languages have you ever heard of? Somebody name me a what? Fortran. So that's a computer language. We still use Fortran today. Although Fortran first came out in 1957. It's the oldest widely used high-level programming language. Now, it's not a language you want to write an accounting page in, okay? Or do a payroll on, okay? It's just not particularly good for those things. All you can do it. You can write, you know, a payroll program in Fortran, or you can write, you know, all of your human resources, you know, programs can be written in Fortran. It stands for Formula Translation, and it's really designed for engineers. And it's good for Fortran. It's good as in, you know, engineering design, engineering, you know, building bridges, used, you know, building any complicated, you know, thing like a car, a plane. So this Fortran, you know, when that came out in 1957, people really didn't know how to design a programming language. So Fortran really had a lot of problems with it. Okay? It's poorly designed by today's standards because people didn't know how to do it. So it's changed. Okay, there was then a Fortran, and there was a Fortran 2, and there was a Fortran 3. Later there was a Fortran 66 that came out in 1966, and there was a Fortran 77 that came out in 1977. There was going to be a Fortran 88, but they didn't quite make it. There was a Fortran 90, you know, and then 95. Okay. And so there's been changes to this language, you know, throughout. So the Fortran today is a quite different Fortran. Who knows another computer language?
Python.
What?
Python.
Python. That's good. Python is a computer language. Tell me what you know about Python.
Nothing.
You know there's one called Python, right? It strangles you to death, right? Python is a language that has, you know, particular uses. Okay, Python, although it's a general language, you know, it basically has found its niche. Okay, in the computer world. Who knows another one? C++. Before C++, there was what? C. So the language C, okay? And later C was followed on by C++, okay? What's different about C? Say, why is C different from Fortran? Well, C was a very popular language. And today, C++ is a very popular language. In fact, more code is written, you know, today in C++ than in any other language. And this C was a high-level language like Fortran, but it had a lot of what were called system capabilities. And you could sort of dip down to the low level, you know, and get close to the machine, and still be in the C language. There's also C sharp. C sharp is the latest of the C series of languages. It was actually sort of, it's basically a Microsoft developed language. And I would say it's kind of the coming language. People are converting over to C sharp, okay, from C++, because C sharp has a lot of things in it that are compatible with newer hardware. So it makes things easier, okay, to access newer hardware. C#, is really the language that does that. Anybody name others? You've heard of BASIC, right? Anybody ever program anything in BASIC? BASIC programming language was another old language, and it was supposed to be a really easy to use language. And a lot of development in the early PC days were done in BASIC. And it was developed by a guy who ultimately became the president of Dartmouth College. Anything else? Java. Java. Tell me what you know about Java. A little louder, please.
Developed by Sun Microsystems.
Yeah. She said it's developed by Sun Microsystems. Why did they want another language? Actually, there's hundreds of computer languages, really. And but Java is one of the most important ones. Yeah. And the idea in Java was when you write something in one of these languages, you write a program in one of these languages. That program is something that's humans can understand, and it seems good and logical to humans, but doesn't do anything for the computer. You have to have a piece of software called a compiler, and these languages have to be compiled into machine language. So there's a big translation, that goes on. There's the source code, that's written in Fortran or Python or C or C++ or BASIC or Java. That's the source code. And then you go through a compiler. That is, that source code is input to this compiler. This compiler reads the source code and outputs another file or set of files, and that output basically is what the computer runs. Now, if all you have is that output, then humans can't do much, with that output. Just like computers can't do much with the uncompiled input. Okay, humans have a problem with the output. So the source code is more important to humans than the object code or the output code, whereas the object code is more important to the machines. So you basically don't want to let people get your source code. Okay, that is, if you view your source code as something you're trying to make your living out of. Okay? You want to keep this away from the general public. You want to lock this away. Okay. You don't much mind if they get the object code, okay, to run on the computer, because that's just one copy, there. But you want to keep your source code hidden away. Now, you can, if you have the object code on the computer, there's something called back engineering. So if one of your competitors gets a copy, say, of your program that's written in Fortran, but he doesn't actually have your source code, he only has the object code, he can write a program that will back out, okay, the information in there to the source level, and it's called reverse engineering, and so that's an issue, okay, in computing. So programming language provide a set of symbols, key terms, commands, okay, and rules to write computer code. Okay? A compiler takes the source code and produces object code with an executable file and supports files as output, and supported files as output. But in Java, they don't do that. In Java, what they do is they give you what's called the Java virtual machine. That's itself a piece of software. But you put this piece of software on your computer, the Java virtual machine, and then any Java is run. You don't actually compile this Java code. Okay? It's basically the Java virtual machine basically interprets this. Okay, and so that's one of the reasons that Java is popular. At the University of Texas, the computer science department requires all computer science students to know Java from the beginning. They're supposed to learn Java in high school before you come and take the very first computer science course at the University of Texas. That's also true at Texas A&M University, and it's true at other universities. It is not true at the University of Houston. We're not here as Java oriented, okay, as they are, because there aren't as many jobs in Java. The jobs are in the C++, okay, and the like. And it's now become kind of a life and death struggle. You have these major universities supporting Java. The Java campus, like religion. Okay? You're a Javaist or you're not a Javaist. Okay? And so the people in major universities like Java, people in industry, are not that happy with Java. Do C++ mainly. And so people at these universities talk about converting everybody over to Java. But in fact, the conversion effort is kind of like the communists going communist. Okay, they did real well for a while, but then it started slacking off, right? So it's a little bit like that in the Java field. And it's true, Sun Microsystems' future is basically wrapped up with Java. Okay? So if you want to go buy some Sun Microsystems stock, okay, you better be betting, that Java's going to take over, right? And application programming, an application programming interface, or an API, is a set of programming tools provided to access an operating system or online service in order to create software based on that operating system or online service. The use of an API opens up a system or device so that others besides the manufacturer can develop software to run on the system or device. If you're coding today, you gotta want to write a new program. You're starting at the beginning, Okay, what do I have to have here? Okay, so my program is going to run on this machine. So what's it going to do? I'll bring up a window. Window. Well, how big do I want this window to be? How many pixels? Okay, do I want it to take up the whole screen? Just part of the screen or what? Now, what do I need in this window? I need some buttons, push. So you have buttons, you have little levers, like a rheostat or a potentiometer. You have a little thing like this, it's got a little thing on it, and you scroll this up and down, okay, to make it bigger or smaller or something, You have buttons. You can have a little file selection box, okay. You're trying to select a file. You have all this list of files, okay. And you can click on one of them, and a bunch of you have an OK button down here, a cancel button. So you like to deal in these kind of commodities, when you are writing a program. And you're going to say, now, these are all called widgets. What widgets do I need here? And then you have to decide where these widgets are going to go, where you want to put them. And well, I don't want this file selection box. When it comes up, I want it to go here. And then I want to hit this button. I got a bunch of buttons over here. Basically, how to design, your window. Let's see. And you can see all these widgets all around the window. See. Well, that means that your programming language or your programming environment, has to support things like that. Your programming language has to say, give me a file selection, widget. And these are the files, that I want shown, And if you press the OK button, I want you to do this. And, if you press the cancel button, I want you to do this, and like that. That's called the application programming interface. How do you acquire software? Well, off the shelf, okay? Custom design software or cloud computing. I'm out of time. I'll stop there. I'm going to continue talking about software next time. And so 4 o'clock on Thursday, assignment 1 is due, and I'll continue talking about this. Any questions? All right. Thank you very much.